Last segment for today is Cheapskates, and this comes off the back. So shout out to Maria, actually. She sent in the idea for this segment, and she sent in a little story saying we should do a cheap episode because she wants to see how cheap people can go. She gave us an example of her husband. So she said, the food at my husband's work cafeteria is heavily subsidized. For example, a full English breakfast is like $5. He would bring takeaway containers and buy 2 people's worth of food for $10 at lunch, sort them in the work fridge, and then take them home for dinner. Other people have taken milk from work home instead of buying them.
I mean, why stop there? You know, if you're gonna, if you want meals, and you may as well buy like 5 or 6 portions worth.
Well, like a My Muscle Chef type situation. You buy like 10 meals in one go.
Yeah, put it in the freezer, take it home, come back.
I actually don't mind this, to be honest.
Is this cheap? It is cheap, but it's not bad.
It's savvy, I would say. Financially savvy.
Frugal.
So where's the line between frugal and cheap?
Okay, here's where I draw the line. Stealing milk from work, that's cheap. Fundamentally, that is cheap.
So at a place I used to work, on Fridays, they did a clean sweep. Like cleaners would come and do a clean sweep of the fridge, and it was a free-for-all. You could take the milk, the bread, other people's lunches. So they would give it away because otherwise it would go off. So in that regard, obviously not stealing, but you're still taking milk from work.
I think that's fine because it's prompted.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you're doing it.
And the alternative is it goes to waste.
Yeah.
So savvy is like a smart decision that you make.
Yeah.
Food is expensive, so you're saving on food. No worries. Milk is $3. You know what I mean? Like
It's gone up a bit. 4.
Yeah. Cheap is there's an office-wide milk people you can use for cereal and whatever, and you're just taking it.
Yeah.
Like no rhyme or reason, you just take the bottle because it's there. That's cheap.
Yeah, okay. I agree with that.
But then where's the line? How do we define the line
Where's
between
the line?
savvy and cheap?
No, I think it's just more of a feeling. It's just the vibe.
So if you know, you know.
Well, maybe I'm just projecting here, but I see no issue buying, 10 meals for $50 if it's a
I think that's
$5
fine
a
because
meal.
you're still paying for it.
Yeah.
It's not like if it's a free lunch and you're like stacking up like containers, then I think that's cheap. I think if you're still paying some money for it, I think it's okay. I don't know.
Is savvy taking advantage of a good deal?
Of a good deal. Yeah,
It's a
that's
good
all it
deal.
is. Yeah, exactly.
Is cheap make a good deal out of thin air?
Maybe that. yeah. Finding good deals out of
You
nowhere.
make a good deal.
The thing is, again, Loki, when you said the story about your mate who was, shoveling food into his
That was
Safeway
cheap.
box,
That was cheap.
that's cheap. But again, maybe I just have no issue with that.
No, that was cheap.
The issue I had with it is he did it
Mid
conference
meeting. He could have done it at the end.
Yeah.
Because that's where the cheapness comes in terms of
He was
he's
ravenous too.
ravenous and trying to get in before everyone else.
Yeah.
Whereas similar to Sen's point about the milk at the end of the week,
Yeah.
if at the end they're like, oh guys, there's a lot of food left over, have some more, and then he takes some more,
No issues.
I think that's
Yeah, I agree with that.
it's still fine.
That's fine. All right. I remember my cheap story is I remember a guy, we had a university ball and he didn't own like a suit or anything like that. So he borrowed a suit off me. No issues with that. He then bought a tie, didn't take the tags off so we could return it the next day. What do we think of that?
Like a one use.
Like a one use.
And then-
He's bought the tie, but he hasn't taken the tags off because he wants to return it the next day.
Has anyone ever done that? Have you ever bought something, kept the tag on it, and then just returned it? Like you only needed it for one day or one thing, and then you went back and returned it?
I think I wanted to do that with our stupid, when we did that video, the coning video, and we bought those,
We did. Yes.
fluorescent tradie vests that
The
we had no
high-vis.
use for.
Yes.
Like the $2 high vis vests.
Yeah. And we wanted to return it, but I've never done it because I just can't be bothered.
Yeah.
It's not worth the time of the effort to go
$2.
back to Kmart and get the return.
Because technically you're not allowed to return if you use it, right? So you got to make sure the condition it remains in is possible as unused. That's where I just can't be bothered.
Yeah, it's just no issues. But
So your friend with the tie, did that work?
it worked.
No questions asked?
Usually there's no questions asked.
How much was the tie, do you know?
I'm pretty sure it was like a Tarot Cash number. Well, let's say 50,
So we're
60
talking
bucks.
Oh, okay. I was going to say Tarot Cash is like 10, 20 bucks.
No.
isn't it?
It's like $50. Let's say,
Okay.
for the tie.
But we'll find 50. What if it's a $500 item? You need a specialized, pair of shoes, for example, for some event. That's a one-off. You've got to pay 500 wax for it. Are you now considering?
I think I have the issue with the tags. Like
Yeah,
shoes,
yeah,
I think is fine
It looks tacky.
because there's no tags on a shoe. Is there? No.
Yeah, but you can probably hide them in like the lick of the shoe or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
With
It was-
the tie.
The tie. I was looking at this guy with the tie.
Could you easily see the tag?
Yes, and he was like, his whole thing was he was trying to put it back in. It's just like it became a whole thing. Not worth
So
it.
your problem is getting away with it on the day in terms of hiding the
No, I have
tags
a lot
or
of
whatever.
problems with it. That's just one of the many problems I have. Is that cheap? Yes, or no?
I think that's cheap. That's being very cheap.
Okay.
Especially for a $50 tie.
Why wouldn't you just borrow the tie as well?
I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to clean it because they had to match his dates thing. You know, like he's got a lot of stipulations, and
I see.
I personally don't have a wide array of ties.
Yeah, true.
To be fair, I borrow heaps of ties. Like Rohan, he wears ties for work, and he has like 20 heaps of ties.
Yeah.
So I asked him can I borrow your tie because
Yeah.
it just has like nice ones. Whereas
Yeah.
I don't have any need for a tie really,
Exactly.
apart from funerals and weddings.
Yeah.
That's it.
Or you just get like Vinnies and just see if you can find like a
But they're like
those
they're,
op shop ones.
yeah, but they're vintage. Like they're thick ties.
What do we
with-
say? What do we call those? The fat ones? You love the fatties, don't you?
Yeah.
That's what you said a couple of weeks
That's
ago.
a callback.
Oh man. So that's the one that I have. Do you have anything?
Just like the household ones, but I feel like a lot of people do. Like with the shampoo, like when it's running low, you just put the water in the shampoo, you shake it up a bit, and then that lasts you another 2 weeks. And towards the end, you're just putting just water in your.
It gets so runny and thin. I do it as well, man. Because I forget to, because in my house, the bulk of like items are somewhere else, like the spare
Yeah.
spare shampoo, spare soaps. I don't have it in my bathroom.
Yeah.
So if I'm already wet and like,
Can't be bothered.
you know, I can't dry myself get it, I'll just use whatever's in the
Left in
shower. But then I
container.
do that for like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
I just wash myself with more water,
With
just in
water.
a different vessel.
Just like it's like very diluted shampoo. And the other
Yeah.
one is with the toothpaste. Like
What's
you
the
use it
toothpaste?
all the way to the end. Like you're basically like scraping it out of the tube. Like
I think I do that as well because of the laziness factor of having to get a new set of a new tube of toothpaste. So like I'll be sitting there like just
You're squeezing
like,
it,
to
yeah.
my hardest thing. But
what I do is I get the end of my toothbrush, I lay it down, and I just like scrape it, like push through all the paste I can.
Yeah. That, for me, that's more a laziness thing. Like if you can't be bothered because I have toothpaste in my house, I just can't be bothered going to find it. It's
Yeah,
like,
just go use someone else's.
Yeah.
Can't bother. Just want to get every juice out
juice
of it.
out of it.
I've got a couple from online. The first one is someone says their grandfather had a firmly held belief that any drink served in a restaurant should cost no more than 10 cents per glass. So if the restaurant charged $1.50 for tea with free refills, he would sit there until he drank at least 15 glasses worth.
What?
Wait,
Nobody else could
what?
leave until he was done.
No,
That's
dude.
ridiculous.
That,
That's one of the most mental things I've heard.
it reminds me of. Have you seen those those TV shows, Extreme Couponers or something like that?
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And it's like that bloke. He's scanning like I don't know,
at
100 beans
at the grocery store.
at the grocery store, and he gets the bill, and it's like, oh, it's $2.80, and he's like, actually, I was expecting it to be 65 cents, and then he got to recount it. And he's like, don't worry, guys. You know, we didn't count one of the coupons. It's all good.
Yeah, he looked like devastated where like it wasn't exactly what he thought it would be.
Yeah. He's like, what's wrong? He like got really stressed out. But that's just what this reminds me of.
Yeah, the next
Ridiculous.
one says one of their friends always buys 11 bread rolls, but tells them it's 10. If they catch him, he just says that he miscalculated.
Oh,
So
As
it's
in,
probably
like-
like where you can self-serve, like put it into
Yeah,
a
I
bag
mean,
and then you
yeah.
tell the cashier, oh, I put in 10 bread rolls. But he's always sneaking an extra one
I
in.
don't mind. I mean,
Where you
it
put
is
the
cheap.
navel oranges through as like grapes or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind. This is cheap, no doubt in my mind, but this is kind of funny because this
This
is
is
a
just theft.
it's just theft with one extra step. Plausible deniability.
Because at least you're still paying for something.
Yeah.
You just get one bread roll. For
I don't
free.
mind it.
You're reminded?
Yeah, I don't mind that.
All right, next one. This person said they saw a guy take money from the tip jar to pay for a muffin.
Nah.
Poor
that's
cashier
not-
was in shock and she didn't say anything. And this is from a cafeteria in an office building, and the guy who did it was wearing an expensive suit.
Nah, I can't condone.
Dude, imagine that. You go on a coffee with like a colleague, they get a muffin, they just put their grubby little hands in the tip jars like, here's my
Here's the
$3.50 or whatever.
Ugh.
Never thought about doing that?
No
Yeah.
way,
No,
not
man,
once.
I'd be so embarrassed to do that.
Yeah, no,
How
that's-
can you look people in the eyes after doing that?
Actually, that reminds me. My brother was telling me a story of like the first time that him and his mates went clubbing, and they were at Hillside Hotel, out of all places.
Yeah.
And you know how the tip jar has? It's like kind of like pink.
Yeah.
It's like a different color. Like the
Yeah.
water looks fun.
Mm.
One of my brother's mates was so hammered that he thought that tip jar was a drink,
Alcohol,
like it's a a vodka lime
Like
soda
a
or something.
cocktail.
Yeah, like a little cocktail. So he's gone and thought, oh, I can get a free drink here. So he's yoinked the tip jar, and he's just drinking the tip jar.
Oh no!
And the bouncer's seen him drink the tip jar, and then he just booted him immediately. Catch you later, son.
That's disgusting.
Have a good one.
What is it?
Germs in there.
Oh, yuck.
Well, have you ever even put money in that thing?
Yuck.
What?
The tip jar, have you put money in that thing? What's it for? I don't know. I've never seen anyone use it, and yet there's always coinage there.
Because the
maybe if you
coins
just
are
get-
sitting in there for how long, dude? Would you lick a coin? No way.
But is that the color? Is that why it's that color? No way. They put food coloring, surely.
I don't know what. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what.
Maybe
it
they
is.
try and put some sort of like antibacterial liquid or something in there.
Hmm.
Surely, right?
Must be. But like the free drinks, he's
They're not putting, vodka and orange juice in there.
No,
They're not
no
doing
way.
that.
No way.
Right, next one. Someone says, my mum and I once went to the cinema with a new friend of hers. As we were leaving, the friend found $5 under one of the seats.
Bingo.
She then made us stay back in the empty cinema while she checked every row for any more cash.
I mean, what can you say about this, really? I think
This is actually the worst of the lot, in my opinion.
No, the tip jar's way worse, but this is just take the dub, take the $5 and call it a day, you know? Why would you ask your friends to wait while you scavenge?
So
Oh,
embarrassing.
that's actually embarrassing.
What do you do when you find cash on the floor?
Free
Do you just
money.
Pocket it?
Yeah, thanks very much.
Do you ever feel like you're getting pranked or on a social experiment of sorts?
It happened to me recently. I found $10 on the floor of the metro,
Mm.
and then there was no one around, and I'm like, "Am I being pranked?" So I went and just gave it to the guard.
That's nice of you.
Yeah. So I probably should have just kept the $10 because he definitely just pocketed it. Let me just quickly acknowledge the elephant in the room. I'm sitting on half a couch. The cushion next to me is currently under Ro right now, and that's because unfortunately Ollie, the dog, not Ro, had a little accident. He vomited on the couch next to Ro, so we just had to do a quick little switch there. My favorite type of cheapskate for me is the rich cheapskate.
Mm.
Someone with like,
Well, they didn't become rich for, being frivolous. Do you know what I mean? How do you stay rich?
yeah, well, that's the thing, right? I don't mind if you're up and coming and you're being frivolous, but once you're, for example, the one I'm going to use is LeBron, who's a billionaire, but he continues to be cheap, which just amazes me. So the famous one is he refuses to use his data. Like he has mobile data.
Yeah.
He wants to use free Wi-Fi wherever he can. Kevin Love has said they'll be in like airports, like during like away games to Toronto, and he'll be there trying to connect to the Toronto airport Wi-Fi rather than using data roaming.
Bro, you couldn't relate. You run out of data.
Well, that's
Every now and again.
But I'm not a billionaire, and I only have like 10.
Really?
I only have 10 gigs of data, so I actually do need to connect to Wi-Fi where it's available.
I couldn't LeBron not even paying for 10.
You reckon LeBron just?
What's the cheapest
Yeah.
plan I can use that'll get me by?
To be fair, think about his life. He's at home in the training center and at the stadium. He probably has the
He's
Wi-Fi.
probably got that
password.
crypto arena Wi-Fi on lock.
Exactly. So
No, but then if he's going from like home to stadium in the bus, you're saying he's asking for a hotspot? He's just begging for
he's just
hotspots
asking
around?
Bronny to look up things for him. The other one is apparently he doesn't refuse to pay for Spotify Premium, so he uses the free one. So like in the changing room, they'll be sitting there listening to music, and suddenly a 30-second ad comes up.
Yeah, for Audible.
Yeah. Well, and it was Spotify Premium's as little as $6 a month, maybe a bit more.
Something like that, I feel.
I
don't
mean,
know.
it's
I mean, LeBron could probably
really-
afford to buy Spotify.
yeah.
The other one is apparently Michael Jordan was also notoriously cheap.
Dude, it's how the goats roll, man.
Yeah, wow.
Maybe we need to get on
I think that
this.
there's a really good quote from Charles Barkley, which I had up and I've deleted. Let me just quickly find it up. So yeah, Charles Barkley said, "There's nobody cheaper than Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. I always give money to homeless people," and he smacks my hands. He says, "If they can ask you for spare change, they can say, 'Welcome to McDonald's. Can I help you, please?'"
Oh
No
my
way.
goodness.
Really?
That's apparently, according to Charles Barkley, what Michael Jordan said.
I don't know. After his documentaries, he seems like a bit of a psychopath, so I
A
believe
bit.
it.
He's like a massive, but again, another billionaire who
Who just pinches pennies.
It might be the billionaire way to live. You want to be a billionaire, you got to act like these
Yeah.
people. Maybe. Who
I
knows?
think my favorite phrase is they have long pockets and short hands.
Long pockets and short. That's good.
That is
That's
a good
very,
one.
very good.
Well, the other one is they have a crocodile in their pockets, so they're always scared to go into their pocket.
So one of my friend of ours, Savine, he volunteers. I'll give him some props here. He volunteers at like a soup kitchen / like homeless shelter type situation where anyone who is in need can come in and fill their boots with like rice and pastas and beans and stuff like that. So because it is free, there are people who come who are in his words, not in need. Like they'll rock up, they'll be looking the business, they'll be just getting some, free flour and sugar and all that sort of gear. Apparently, the people who are really in need, like the actual homeless, they're like, okay, they just take what they need truly, like the staples, the essentials,
the bare essentials.
They're not greedy, right?
Yeah.
And Savine will be like, hey man, like please take more if you need it. Please take more. He's like, no. Like this is all I need for the week. Thank you so much. I'm really appreciative. He says the people who come in, who he thinks are not in need, they're the ones who just hoard. Can I get more flour? Can I get more sugar? This and that.
Is this savvy or cheap?
It's cheap.
As they come. No, because we don't know. Like Savine is basing it on their appearance alone, so we don't actually know if they're in need or not.
That is true, but
so I'm going to reserve judgment without knowing the full story.
But if hypothetically they were not of need,
but what would happen to the stuff regardless? Let's say you were saying the people who actually need it aren't taking all of it.
Yeah.
What happens to the other stuff?
It just goes in for the next week.
No, but it's like flour. Sure,
food.
It's not a croissant that's going to expire today.
Can I ask, what does a homeless person need flour for? It's not like they have an oven or a stove that they're going to be cooking on.
No, flour might not be the right thing, but there is actually flour because
flour, water. I know.
You make bread quite easily.
I mean, with all due respect,
find a fire, put it on a fire, damper.
So yeah, flour. You're right. They're not doing a lot of baking, I imagine. But I think you can still use flour day to day. Like you can make bread really easily. When I went camping, literally flour, water, hot pan that made bread, flat bread, easy days. Sugar. I mean,
and let's be honest, it's not necessarily people that are homeless. They could just be struggling, right? So there's different variations of need.
No, there is. But the people who...
But if you're shoveling your trolley, that's a bit much.
I agree. That's
I like how the people are taking what they need because they know other people might need it.
That's the mentality. The people who are greedy, they don't care.
They're not thinking about other people.
They're not thinking. Like the people who are in need obviously know that there are other people in need. And if I'm taking it, I'm taking away from someone else who might need it. People just shoveling it in deluxe. And the thing is, because you're at this volunteer shelter, Sav can't make the judgment whether they do or don't need it.
Oh yeah, no, he can't do anything, right?
And so he just has to watch them, hoard, heaps of stuff in there. So
and then they pack it in the Tesla when they drive off.
And
that type of
resell on
vibe.
the Facebook Marketplace type vibe. So it's an interesting world we live in.